So we'll begin. So I'd just like to welcome Kev Banting this morning to Conversations with Chris Loft.
Thanks, Chris.
Good. Nice to have you here. So we've got two rules here, Kev. That you've got to tell the truth, or at least don't tell a lie. You comfortable with that?
Well, it's not my character to do that.
Yep. Good on you, mate.
So there's no changes there.
No politics here.
No. Gee, I'd love to give the left a bit of a screw. See how things have changed over the years.
Yeah. Well, we might even, who knows where this goes.
Like I was told you earlier about the building industry, you know, how Dad just got a builder's licence.
Yeah.
And I could have one too. At the time, they said that was when it first started.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
We'll come to that. Yeah.
Right.
No, that's classic. That's a classic story.
And it's all left-leaning things to create government departments.
Yeah.
That's what all these, we've just got an army, thousands of these departments. It's all about spreading the wealth and creating jobs. Because they haven't improved the building industry with all the rules.
Yeah.
I mean, there was the occasional shonk back in them days, but see, no one was licensed.
Yeah. No, that'll be really interesting for the listeners.
You did it, you know. And then even in Sydney, people soon find out if you're no good, you don't get any work.
That's the same. Same anywhere, isn't it?
Same now.
So
you get blokes who've got a good name. For
tradesmen, yep, it's all the same. So where did it all begin? When were you born?
In Sydney.
In Sydney, and when?
1948. Valentine's Day. That's why I'm so sweet. I keep telling Gloria that, but she doesn't believe me.
And so when Valentine's Day comes around, your wife celebrates.
Yeah, and that's when they changed the decimal currency. I mean, my birthday is just
phenomenal. February.
14th.
1966. That was the decimal currency.
That's right.
Yeah. Yep. And so began in Sydney. What did your mum and dad do?
Well, Dad started out as a fitter and turner. He worked in the mines as a fitter and briefly at Bulli down near Wollongong.
Oh yeah.
And then he worked making assembling graders and working on washing machines and refrigerators. That's when automatic washing machines first started out, and he knew the companies that had started it. And he worked for them and knew all contacts around Sydney. Like when I was a kid, I used to go around with him in his own van, and Dad had finished having his own business, and I just worked out of his shed at home, and he had one employee, and he did quite well just out of doing repairs and maintenance on washing machines and refrigerators and things like that.
Yep. That's when they were built to last.
Oh yeah, well they had the old type was the gearbox and the rollers, to crush the water out of the clothes,
Yeah.
Well, people used to get their hands stuck in them and everything like that used to happen. But so anyhow, Dad always wanted to have a farm, even though he was raised in Sydney too. And so when I was 14. And I'd just finished high school. I'd done 3 years of high school, and that down there, that was
that was enough.
Intermediate certificate. Yeah, no, I had no skill. I wanted to get a job, and where Dad used to take me around all these different industrial estates and all the people he knew.
Yep.
He'd tell me about what they're doing there. Oh, they offered me a job there, being foreman, and blah blah blah. I just wanted to get out there, make $1, and get a job, and.
Yep.
I suppose Dad take me around sort of stimulated that sort of approach. So we packed up and left Sydney. I was the eldest of the family. I had 2 brothers and 2 sisters. And
was Mum a stay-at-home mum?
Yeah, stay-at-home mum, yeah. Mum had never, I don't think Mum had ever had a job. Mum married Dad when she was 19.
Yeah.
And that was sort of more common them days. And so Mum had mostly only known family life and raising kids, and come from a big family. She was one of 9, Dad was one of 6.
Yep.
And Mum had 5 sisters, 3 brothers, and they all had about 4 or 5 kids. So I got that many cousins. When we used to have family gatherings, we got pictures of like a whole school, so like there's just hundreds of them,
That's
Yeah, like
so that's Bantings.
No, they were Coopers. Mum's side was Coopers
right.
and Dad's Bantings.
Yep.
There was 6 of them, but they all had a few kids. Some had 4, some had 2.
Yep.
Um,
So were they born in Australia? Were they
Australia? My great grandfather came from London to Bunbury, Western Australia.
Yep.
In about 1860.
Yeah, right.
So that's when we kicked off.
That's real pioneering.
And he was a carpenter and wheelwright and did a bit of funerals too, which is a thing that comes like from England. That if you're a carpenter, you make the coffins and conduct some of the funeral sort of thing.
Yeah.
So he had about 11 kids over there. When he came there, he married an Irish girl, and had 11 kids. So the Bantings are spread from there.
So in Sydney you were, in Bulli?
Yeah, when I was a little kid, Dad worked at the mine for 2 years, so I hadn't even started school when we left Bulli. And we moved from Bulli back up to Sydney and stayed with Dad's mother for a while at her place until Dad built a house at Hurstville.
Right.
Dad built the house there. Even though he wasn't a builder, but he did a good job of it.
Well, that's an interesting.
That's what people sort of did.
That's an interesting point. So people, if you just did it.
Yeah. Mm. And you had friends where you'd ask for a bit of advice and things. But it was interesting because the block Dad bought was in the bottom of the street, in a dip, and there was a huge stormwater pipe went through the middle of it because it sort of replaced the creek that was there. It was about 6 foot diameter. Anyhow, Dad must have got it cheap, I'd say, because it had blackberries all over it, and blackberries are a real problem. And just at that time, hormones just came out, and this was a great innovation to get rid of blackberries because they were a real problem.
All right.
Getting rid of them. Mm. And it worked really well. So then he got a lot of fill put in to cover over the pipe and made the sort of useless block into quite a good block of ground, and then built the house on it. And so we were there for until I was 14. But
and then from 14, you left school.
And we came up north.
The whole family.
Yeah, the whole family just sold the house. Had a caravan, and Dad was planning to stay at Mackay because they'd been there before when I was only about 4. They travelled right up through Queensland. It was all dirt roads, the whole highway was dirt all the way up. Yeah. I remember that the house in Hurstville had all these boxes of coral and shells, and back in those days, like this is how things have changed. The beaches in Queensland were just covered in coral and beach, all types of shells, exotic shells. They said they were everywhere. Mm. And the fish, it was just a wonderland, Queensland and days.
So did you go to Mackay?
Yeah, when we left there, we went to Mackay, and they were in the middle of a flood, so we weren't impressed. We were stranded on this hill in the caravan thinking, gee, this is a great place, you picked that here. So all right, we'll keep going. We will keep going north. But as we passed, going north, we went through the Tweed and we stayed down. I said, gee, that was nice there. Anyhow, we kept going past Mackay, and we went to Cairns and a place called Freshwater. We camped there. Anyhow, we thought, no, we'll go back to that Tweed place on the border. We'll go back and have a look around there. So that's what we did. Mm. And we camped in the caravan park there, and Dad's first experience with horses, there was a stray horse. So we caught this horse, this was in the town, and Dad got on its back, it had no bridle, no saddle. I still see it. Dad went riding off, because he knew nothing about horses. He went riding off, and he just went, boom, he just fell off the horse. All those kids thought it was a great joke, look at Dad fell off the horse. Mm. And so anyhow, we looked around there, and we finished up buying a farm out at on the road between Wollumbar and Nimbin, 640 acres. It was a fairly big place, a lot of timber and everything, and it was a dairy farm. So we bought in there and learned about farming, and we ran the dairy for a couple of years, 2 or 3 years.
So that's after you'd left school. You were 14.
Yeah, I'd finished. I'd had enough, so I helped on the farm.
Yeah, right.
And all the other brothers and sisters were younger, so they went to Nimbin.
Nimbin, I tell you.
Nimbin University.
Was it
now,
like...
this was pre-hippie time. No, it was all very respectable. There was a lot of Italians there, grew bananas, all respectable, hard-working families. Italians and a sort of Celtic type descendant type. There was dairy farms, banana growers. What else? Oh, a few truck driving mobs and things like that for freight and things. And that was before Nimbin started.
Yep.
I can remember when that all started there. So where are we?
That was the dairy farm. So you had the dairy farm.
We had the dairy farm. This is the thing that's changed.
Yep.
30 cows we had, 30 milking cows. That was a living. Like, it wasn't a great living. That was a living for a family. 30 cows.
Yeah.
Now you'd have to have about 600.
Yeah. To make 10 cents.
And that was in the cream days. We used to have separated for the cream, and all the butter used to go to England. Back in those days before they killed that. When Whitlam or something came in, they killed off the butter trade. So that whole industry died in that valley. So we used to produce cream. 30 cows was pretty well living.
Yeah.
But we had all this timber. Yeah. And Dad built a cafeteria, we called it, and we used the skim milk to raise crossbred beef. We were going to go into beef more. So I remember we went in one day to the cattle sales. They had this little cattle sales. They only have about 50 head there or something, calves and things. So we went in, and we didn't have any back on the ute. So we just had one of those, the stove covers in that fine corrugated iron stuff. Yeah. We just tipped that upside down in the back of the ute. That was our carriage from the cars. We went into town, and Dad bought these cars. They're probably only $5 each, them days. And we put them in the back. Everyone's looking at us like, what are these?
The hillbillies.
Bushy hillbillies.
From Nimbin.
Yeah. Nimbin didn't mean anything them days. So that's how we built up the herd of crossbred beef cattle. Bought all heifers and raised them up. And
so you'd be living off the farm as well. I mean, eating.
That's all we had.
Yep.
And it was pretty slim pickings. But then we fell into this cordwood business, the firewood. There were a lot of dead trees. See, back about 1900, that whole area was all forest, and it was government policy to ringbark all the trees and turn the forest into dairy farms.
Oh yeah.
For the cream to make butter to go to England. That's what it boiled down to. So it was it was a big scrub, and so all these dead trees are standing around everywhere. And they're all, finally now, after whatever 100 years, they're all gone. They've either rotted, fell down, or been cut up. Yeah. So we had all these dead trees for firewood. So, as I was telling you the other day, one of my first jobs, a guy across the road and I had heard that we could get some work splitting cordwood for a guy down the road.
So just explain cordwood.
Now cordwood is a measurement of firewood, and it's 5 foot high, by 5 foot wide, by 5 foot deep.
Yep.
So it's that's how you measure it. It's called a cord. And he was cutting 5 foot wood, and you split it into pieces about the size of a fence post. So the trees you might be cutting up could be anything from a foot to 4 or 5 foot diameter trees, big trees.
Yep.
And if you got good splitters like yellow stringy and some of those, you didn't have any trouble splitting it. And he was paying 10 shillings a cord just to do the splitting, and which today is equivalent to about $1.
How long?
Big dollars.
Yeah. How long would it take you to do it?
Well, you might do 2 or 3 cord a day.
And that's 2 of you.
Oh no, each. If you had, so depending on how good a splitter the timber was. So anyhow, when we were going to get a lift down, the lift didn't turn up, so we thought, we'll just walk down to the job. And it was about 5 kilometres. So we just had our axe over it. You had to bring your own axe. So we had our axe over our shoulder, walked down the road, and it was a real quiet road. There was hardly any traffic. It was all dirt. And I think the only car come along, he's pulled up and said, where are you guys going? We're going home ready to split some wood, and so he let us put it in the car. I mean, today you'd get arrested. You wouldn't even get a lift. No one would pick up two blokes with axes. Yeah, right.
Just
So-
keep going. Mm.
So anyhow, you gave us a lift.
Particularly if you're around Nimbin.
Nimbin was a nice place then. So we haven't got to Nimbin
No.
when it changed.
Yeah. So you
Yeah,
did
there
that
was
for a
no
bit?
drugs. All these people
Yeah.
in the district were descendants of the original settlers
Yeah,
that
right.
from the
Yeah.
they cleared the big scrub,
Mm.
and they only knew that life.
Hard work.
And
Yep.
when we bought the farm, it was very depressed at the time. They said to Dad, "Is there any more people like you where you come from? Because they want to sell their farm, or you could buy the whole valley."
Yeah, right.
The people had had enough and wanted to move out.
Yeah, yep.
Anyhow, we went down and cut over to cordwood for this guy, and he was supplying 5-foot cordwood to the Murwillumbah Hospital. They burn a lot of wood for different things at the hospital.
Yep.
Anyhow, well, that was just a part-time sort of job. So anyhow, then the Dad saw a tender in the paper. People wanted us to tender for supplying cordwood to Lismore Hume's Pipes. That was Baker's wood. That's a 2'6" length, but still measured in cords. So Dad put a price in and got the contract, and so then we had to rush around cutting wood. We had trees everywhere, get a chainsaw. Didn't know much about these dirty big dead trees.
Mm.
And we had to use a guy from Nimbin, the Italian guy. I forget their names now. They had a trucking business, so they carted it to Lismore for us, and they took about half the price. You know, I think it was $12 delivered, $12 a cord delivered to Lismore, which is about 30 miles of this windy back road.
Mm-hmm.
You know, real hilly country. Anyhow, so we did that for a while, and
So that's just you and your dad, or
my other
kids?
brother Barry.
Yep.
He's 3 years younger than me,
Righto.
and by this time he'd left school too, so he was helping split the wood and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Italians carted it for us. They had a big truck. They'd cart 4 cord at a time. And they got the shit. When Dad bought an old truck, an old Austin, they weren't talking to us then because they lost. They wanted
Lost
to
the
work.
cartage.
So, anyhow, that was by the by.
Yep.
But so yeah, we used to drive through Lismore through Nimbin to get to Lismore. That's on that route through there. And so then we started carting it and getting the whole price. And I was only 19 at the time, so I had to get a special licence. You had to be over 21 to have a truck licence. So on my licence, they'd have it typed on that I could only cart freight from the farm to the nearest railway station.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that was no problem until I got that, and it wasn't any problem getting a licence.
How'd you get your driver's license?
Well, I just drive around the block.
Yeah.
That was it virtually. And before that, I only had a motorbike licence, and it was the same. I think they asked you 6 questions, and then they say, "I just drive." No, that's what we did. I only had to ride it about 50 feet. He said, "I just could drive right down there and turn around and come back here." So I went down there. This is in the sort of main street of the town. Rightio. So by the time I'd come back, he was just writing it out. So that was that. That was the motorbike licence.
Is that because you were from a farm, because they know everybody on the farm?
No, I don't. Well, I don't think a farm helped much, but that's just how it was then.
Yeah, yep.
And then, so I went from a motorbike licence to a truck licence, and the same with the truck licence. It was just, he got in the truck with me, and we drove around the block, and it was a bit hilly, and I said, "Oh, you want me to do a hill stop?" "Oh, no, it doesn't matter. You've been driving a farm, all that." He said, "You come off a farm." It didn't even bother. Like, I'm all anticipating, more testing, and that was it.
Yep.
The truck licence. And I mean, today you have all these things the kids have got hoops they've got to jump through. It doesn't necessarily make them a safer driver, because I've never had an accident. Of like a prang or anything like that. So when they say, "Oh, if you get your licence too easy, you won't respect it," or take things for granted, but that doesn't compute really. It's just how the person is, because I had mates that had accidents lots of time because they were just showing off to their mates or showing off to some girl or something. That's what gets them into trouble. Anyhow, that's how they went with the truck licence.
So then you're 19 and working that
carting timber. Some days I'd do 2 loads. Some days we'd load up the afternoon before, and I'd leave home in the morning, get back and get another load and get 2 loads.
Righto.
And that took up the whole day.
Yep. So then, from 19, so you're still working with the family business?
Yeah,
and
just for nothing. Just to keep
existing. Yep.
Yeah. That went on for a few years, and then in that period, Dad bought a abandoned case mill.
What's that?
Now, case mills, they were very common around Tweed, and all they did was cut cases for fruit and veggies. So back in those days, they all came in boxes, wooden
timber boxes,
little thin boards, and that's all these little mills cut. And because the Tweed was such a really good timber growing area, they cut timber down to a 6-inch diameter. Flooded gum was very popular, and they were just a one-use box, and they'd all get sent off to all over the place.
Yep.
Bananas and tomatoes and everything.
Yep.
And everyone used to nail them together. And some mills had things to make up the ends, but mostly the farmers finished up nailing them all together. At the farm, they just buy all the cleats, the sideboards and everything. But yeah, talk about waste and using the environment. They were just a one-use box, and there was numbers of these case mills all over the place. So anyhow, it was out Smith's Creek, I think it was, property. Wasn't that far away.
And that employ a few people there? Or
a case mill?
Yeah.
Yeah, a case mill would employ 4 or 5 people.
Yep.
But anyway, this one was sort of run down and just abandoned. We found the owners and everything and arranged the price, and just it all it consists of is like a Canadian saw, which is like a trolley that runs on tracks for breaking down the logs, and you have a big blade, about 4 or 5 foot diameter blade, to break down the logs, and then it just the flitches fall onto a set of skids, just slides down, and then it just goes back through the bench. That's all it was. They had a bench saw, and so those parts of it we took, and you anchored it down into bed logs in the ground. So we just cut logs about 2 foot 6 diameter or something, because the motor was a big 1-cylinder 10-inch piston single cylinder donk, and beautiful old motor with a big flat leather belt that drove the mill, and a transfer box. It just ran a transfer box that you could run both saws at once, or it was 40 horsepower was rated on it, but geez, it used to hang on. And it run on anything, crude oil, and you used to have to heat it up with a blowtorch to get it hot on the head end, and then it had a big flywheel about 4 foot diameter, and you used to rock it back and forth until it just fired up. And it was so cheap to run, and just and it'd blow big smoke rings. It sounded great. We built it out in the middle of the bush where all timber was, and it sounded beautiful, when it was chuffing away. So we cut timber then, and we had plenty of timber, all over the place.
Yep.
And we cut it into all Scantling and built a few houses, a few duplexes. That was Dad's idea.
Around that area.
Down on the coast, down around Kingscliff, down Tweed.
Oh yeah.
And we'd strip stack all the timber out. We'd work out a house, how much we'd need, like floor joists, ceiling joists, and we cut 4x1 boards for the floor and for the chamfer boards, just a 4-inch size, and we stacked that out to season it, and then we take it into the biggest sawmill in town that had the big 6-header miller machines, and they dress it for us for tunnel groove flooring and the chamfer boards. So
you'd build the houses.
Yeah, for very little. I remember the first house we built, it cost us $1,200 all up. We bought the glass.
It's hard to believe, isn't it?
It's hard to believe these days.
Yeah.
And this was at Kingscliff. Like blocks of land at Kingscliff now would be $200,000 a block. Now back then, Kingscliff was sort of rutile sand mining in that area, and the whole beach area, it's all sand, was all mined. And the people who lived there mostly worked for either the farmers at Coogin or the sand mining company. And people only leased the land, the blocks, you know, because they said, oh, once this place will be dead. Once the mining's over, it's all finished, you know. So Dad got one of these places on a lease, and then he wanted to convert it to freehold. He had faith in the area that this land will only get more popular, which it did. And I think the first block of land, I think it worked out as they said, oh, well, $650 will make it freehold.
Yep.
So we did that, and we built this little 2-bedroom. We were going to use it as a beach house. Yeah, and that's what it cost, $1,200. Because we bought the glass bulk, cut our own glass, made the windows, hopper windows. Yep. We made them out of timber. And we just had a hand electric planer to plane up all the mouldings.
So it's just timber and glass. Really.
And we bought tiles. You could buy tiles and they just deliver them to the site, and we put the tiles on the roof ourselves. So a tile roof. We cut the glass, we had flooring, weatherboards on the outside. There was just a bit of plumbing.
Those houses still there?
Yeah, that one is still there. It's been renovated a bit, that first house we did. And then we built, after that we built two, one for my brother Barry, one for myself. And that was a little bit later. And to try and encourage people to do things, the government was trying to help push people into building or doing something. And they had blocks. It was advertised in the Government Gazette. They had an auction for, they were about $1,000 reserve of blocks. You got 10-year terms, a 4% interest, 10% down, and 4% interest over 10 years. But the conditions were you had to build a house on it in the first 2 years. So you could only have one per person.
Yep.
So Dad had 5 kids, so he even had a different type. His sisters were signing, they were only about 12 or something. But anyhow, so we did that. When we built the first one, well, when we finished it, we rented it out, and then, back those days, it was only $20 a week for rent. So, I mean, you say $1,200 for a house. Well, everything was less, of course, you know.
Yeah. But the rent.
But it did. We knew that was going to pay it off. Yeah. And we thought it was quite a viable, you know, business thing. So yeah, we built the first one, and then we built the second one, and we just had when we built the first one, we used to travel down and work and then go home, and we had no sort of site shed. Yep. Well, when we built the next two, we had a bit of a tin shed we made up in the middle. My brother used to camp in it through the week, and go down and just take timber down and make the frame up and do all those things. And we've built sort of 2 houses there, and they were 3-bedroom houses. And I remember we used to live on $5 a week, which sounds pathetic, but at the time, because we used to have meat from the farm. We used to kill our own meat, and we used to pop into Moreland on the way through in the truck. And I remember a tin of beetroot was for a 6pence. Yeah. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, out of that $5 we used to have on a Wednesday, we'd go and have a beer each at the pub. And we used to have a little kerosene primus for our heating. Yeah. And if it just heat up with a bit of tin of baked beans, it's all pretty primitive. Yeah. We used to wash in a dish. We'd have a dish on the floor, and you can have a whole shower in a dish, small dish. You put one leg in there, you wash that leg, and all the water drains down to the dish. Yeah. Then you put the other leg in and you wash that leg. Yeah. Then you wash your crutch and you stand over it, and you can have a whole shower out of a little dish of water. And I remember when we used to go down to the pub, I found out this later, that was where all the rich Coogin veggie growers, one of them was Gloria's father. Oh, right. they'd all drink then. They were big drinkers.
Yeah.
And they said, well, we see these two bushy boys with these dirty big boots. They said big, because we were that skinny out clothes, our boots looked really big. And I wondered who these kids were, these young boys, you know. It was us, me and my brother.
Mm. So that's where you met Gloria, was it?
No, that was years later.
Oh, yeah.
No, that was, anyhow, we, a lot of this business was costing us money, and we were only having slow returns, so we had a bit of credit, and Dad was getting squeezed, keeping it, because we weren't going to sell anything, and he had to get, finished, the bank wouldn't give him any more money. There was different credit squeezes. Anyhow, he arranged something with a hardware store where they'd give him credit, and he guaranteed he'd pay him, but he wanted a bit of time.
Mm.
So he worked out a bit of finance with them, so that helped us get through getting some of these places built and finished. So after they built those two houses and rented them out, there was another auction coming up down Tweed, opposite Yucca Passage, and they were long blocks that long to the road that they faced. They were long, thin, not shallow like depth-wise, but wide. We thought, well, geez, they'd be ideal for duplex blocks where you'd have access each end to a carport.
Mm.
So they had the idea, we'll buy some of these. So that's when the sisters came in handy. I think they signed off on one, and the brother, and we managed to get these three, and they were the same. We had to build something within 2 years. Well, that we were really stretched for money. And so we made a start and put the plans in and just poured the footings, strip footings. It was going to be timber floor, of course, so that we complied.
So as long as you made a start.
Made a start,
right.
yeah.
Yep.
And then tried to build the first one, and the running was really running out. So that's when I left and went picking fruit down south and made some money to come home, with some money to go towards it. That helped a bit. So we got things kicking along a bit more, and we finished one duplex and rented that out, and then I don't know what happened. Something happened that we got some more money to start on the others.
So you built them to rent, not built to sell.
No, never. I just keep everything.
Yep.
That was the philosophy.
Yep.
And my brother still owns them.
Yeah.
Dad sold his one to my brother Barry, and I sold mine. I sold mine to him about 72,000 for a duplex down there.
Yeah.
And now they'd be worth about 500,000 or 600,000.
Yeah.
And he keeps maintaining them. It's they're only weatherboard, and but still demand's there and people rent them. So
yep.
he gets more rent down there than I get here.
Yeah. Yeah. So when did you leave down there? What was the?
Well, that's another story. See, after we finished with the cordwood, and we built these places, these duplexes and houses. Barry, my other brother, he applied for a job with Hannah and Edmund. They were a big building company in town. They were based in Wollongbar. They were a very good company to work for, and they did work all over the state. They did a lot of public works jobs, all sorts of work. They even had their own plumbing shop, which made their own hot water systems for the general public, and so they were in quite a big way. Really had a lot of staff. So he applied as a labourer, and because we'd done all that building these houses in duplex, so we'd had a bit of experience. So he started as a labourer, building the Wollongbar Civic Centre, which was like the council premises thing. It was quite a big job. He started there as a labourer, but he came as a carpenter, and then virtually over a couple of years he becomes like leading hand a bit with them. Well, after he'd been there a while, how did this fit together? Yeah, back when money was getting short, I went to Western Australia, so a lot of the relatives are over there, and I went over there for a bit of a break, and I got working for a building company for a time there, helping bricklayers, because we had laid a few bricks ourselves. And I worked at a meatworks there too for a while, which didn't last very long there because used to start at 1 o'clock in the morning. It was interfering with my social life because I was still single then. And you'd start at 1 o'clock in the morning and go till some time in the afternoon,
Yeah.
And you used to have to quarter the beef with a handsaw. That's like there's a full carcass hanging there, split down the middle. You had to cut it between the 10th and 11th rib to get into 2 quarters.
Yep.
And it was all done by hand, and they had trouble getting guys to do it. And when I turned up, I wondered what was going on about this. 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock. What's all this? That was when I was going to knock off. How long I was going to last when they size you up.
Oh, yeah.
This bloke ain't going to last long, Well, I lasted a couple of weeks, and I thought, I'm giving this away. Oh, and they thought I was going to stay, the management. One of the management was friends of one of my relatives there, But I said, it's no good for me. So that's when I got a job with a building company, which suited me fine.
Mm-hmm.
And I did a variety of work with them for about 6 months. That was quite good, but anyhow, I had to come back home, and that's when I applied for a job with this company my brother Barry was with. They needed a brickies labourer, and they'd put on a lot of apprentices. Like back in these days, companies used to put on apprentices. We had more apprentices at companies than they had tradesmen, which was actually illegal. You're supposed to have at least one tradesman per apprentice.
Yep.
But they had a lot of work, and they, the whole conditions were all different those days. And all those guys mostly all went through their trade. So only I started as a labourer, and I was there 2 years. I went from labourer to leading hand bricklayer in 2 years. And because the 4-year apprenticeship supposed to be. So some of the guys, the other apprentices, they were a bit pissed off with management because they had to start on the low money in the first year and work their way through. And this bastard bloody labourer, they didn't resent me doing it. They said, well, you're doing it. I was just a fast learner and a hard worker. Yeah. And I just stepped up through the ranks, And how I started was that, you'd get sent out to a job, maybe doing a bit of finishing off work at a school or something like that, and you'd only have 2 bricklayers and you had to look after them. Well, I'd load the whole job up and get them all going. I have nothing to do. So I say, can I lay a few commons? Commons are just where it's not face work, where it's seen later, it might be rendered or covered over. Yeah. That's what commons are. And I just guts in's between the corners. You build the corner with the level, and then you just pull the string off those corners, and you gut. That's called gutsing in with the commons. See, and so I'd start laying these commons, and the guys looking and saying, "Oh yeah, we're not lipping. There's nothing wrong with what he's laying here." So when I was filling in, so then they were telling the boss, "Oh, he's laying commons. He's laying commons and helping us too." And righty, yeah. They didn't care. They're getting the bricks in. Yeah. So it's all about getting the bricks in, and so I went on like that, and then I started just doing more and more brickwork. Mm-hmm. And labouring, really, a lot of guys have looked down at labouring, but a good labourer is worth as much as a tradesman because there's a knack to being a good labourer. How fast you can get things done. Yeah. It's all about technique. Yep. Yep. Like how quick you mix the mud, and you don't waste your time taking one shovel of cement mortar to a guy. You just go to the barrow and you tip the whole lot there. Yeah. Because you're cutting down all those trips back and forwards. Yeah. There's different techniques like that. Yeah. And they're in high demand, a good labourer. Anyhow, so that's how I stepped into bricklaying, and then did jobs all over the place at Blackwater, all over the coast, Southport, all sorts of jobs. We did with that company for a while. And then I did a bit of private contracting just on our own, where you make more money. Yep.
So you became a builder?
Up here I did. So then I was there and I got licensed as bricklayer, and bricklayers weren't licensed in Queensland when we moved up here 32 years ago. So I thought, I might as well try and get my licence again up here. Mm-hmm. So I had to go to Bundaberg to do a bit of a course before they give it to me, see. But that was no problem. So I did that, and I got a licensed bricklayer. Well, then I thought, I might apply because I wanted to build some units here. So I thought I'll see if I can get a builder's license, low rise. And so I went back and saw Hannah's. George Hannah, he is the owner of the business down there. He gave me fantastic, fantastic references and things about the different jobs I was leading hand on, foreman on. Quite a big job. They're multi-million-dollar jobs. They used to do over $10 million jobs. They got all these awards, that company. They were good to work with. And my brother-in-law, he gave me a really good reference. He'd had a few jobs built for himself, like a block of shops and some units and other things. So I applied for my license and got it here, conditional one, and then I had to. They said, "Oh, you better do a bit of a university course." See, this is the bloke who's done 3 years of high school. Anyhow, I'd do it by correspondence.
Yep.
So it had 4 different sections in it, and you had to pay your fees all up and everything. So I did the first bit, which was just more or less hands-on practical knowledge of building, and I got a credit in that because at the same time I was building these units in town here, so I was very busy that year. And then after I did that, there was one, when I got all the paperwork, all the bookwork, to learn it, and I'm thinking, if this is all you get to be a builder, I said, you're not prepared for being a builder, because I'd learnt more on the job.
Yeah.
And back with Dad and Mum and Dad and just trying to run a business or anything, I thought, I was far more prepared just from life experience than what this course would do, because it had a bit on how to do subdivisions and cut and fill.
Yeah.
Had that like estimating. And then there's a name for these different types of graphs where you try and coordinate a job with, the plumber, the car, all that.
Yep.
Well, I didn't know what that was called.
But you knew how to do it.
Yeah, I knew that's right. You've got to try and get the job done quickly. You've got to try and coordinate the guys so that multiple things are happening all at once. And the better you can do that, the quicker you get it done, and the
more money you make.
Yeah. But it had these names and how of these types of how you set up the business.
Yep.
So it boiled down to the same thing, really.
Yep.
It's just about getting yourself organised.
So you got your licence.
So anyhow, after I did the first course, the practical one, they said, "Oh, we won't worry about the other 3 courses. Well, we'll just grandfather you. You can just carry on." And I wasn't going to particularly do a lot of work or anything, and so they just gave it to me then, unconditional.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that's how I got to be. Like I said, I got all these into trades. I'd put myself up against anybody in woodwork, brickwork, concrete, and I never really was apprenticed to anybody. But I worked with some good guys.
Yeah, yep.
And you learn just from practical experience.
So that was when you were here? That was Maryborough?
Up here when I became the builder, yeah.
Yeah,
Licensed builder.
And so did you build for other people as well, or just yourself?
Only little bits, yeah. I wasn't really interested. I had enough to just managing the farm and the units we got. Yep. And still are.
Yep.
So
when did you meet Gloria? When was that?
Oh, well, Gloria was... that's when I'd become the bricklayer, and one of the guys with Hannah's, he was a carpenter's labourer. Colin, what was his name? Oh, anyhow, he said, "Oh, I'm going to the hockey banquet at Talgum, not Talgum, Tambalgum. You want to go? It's only so much, to go to the ball. It's just a little hall. They have a dance and they have a bit of supper and they award the hockey player things." I said, "Oh yeah, I'll go along," because I used to like going to the country dances. Yeah. I was painfully shy, painful. So I got there, and I don't know if I get into trouble from Gloria telling you these things. Anyhow, I had a dance with her, and she bit me on the flaming neck. I'm dancing around. I thought, Christ, what have I got here? A vampire, you know. So that's how it started. And then he brought her, and his brother was there, and they were going to take me outside and flame and do me over. So I sort of talked them out of that wouldn't be a good move going outside, boys. So, but that's how it sort of started.
Yeah, righto. And then, so you married up here?
No, we married down there.
Yeah, yep.
And
and how many kids have you got? 2
boys.
Yep.
And they were both born down there. And they were only little when we came up here. The oldest one was, he was about 7 or something. The other one was about, he was only about 3 or something. 3 and 7 years, 3 and 8. Mm. Yeah, the oldest one was going to school.
Yep.
And he'd been to school a little bit down there, Kingscliff. Mm. But,
so when did you get into the timber carving?
Well, when I was 50, up here.
Yep.
I just felt, I'll have a go at this. So I had a bit of time on the farm there, and Dad had beech timber, which is good to carve. So Dad didn't, they were around on the farm, different beech. They were saved from the old days, the beech trees, because the old timers knew that they were a very useful timber and fairly rare. So yeah, I got a bit from off Dad, a bit of beech, and I knew nothing what I was doing. So I thought, oh well, you've got to have a bit of a stand to hold the wood, so you can stand there and it'll be just in front of you. And so it's held. So I made this tripod stand and screwed the lump of wood to it. So right now, people don't want to be models and stand there all day getting bored. So I thought, I'll carve myself. So I had 2 mirrors. So I set one up so when I looked at the mirror I could see my face on, and I put the other mirror so it got the reflection from the other mirror so I could see my profile in that mirror.
Yep.
And then it was just a lump of a tree with a bark on it where it started, and so I just used my ruler to measure the sort of length of my nose, the width of my nose. So I thought, oh well, the nose is going to be here, and just started going in, dig it in, and those set distances with a ruler. And then to get the shape of the profile, well, I just kept looking at the mirror and copying until I got the shape right. And that took ages.
So you use a chisel, hammer and chisel, is it?
Yeah, just a hammer and chisel, yeah, like a carpenter's chisel, a flat 1/2 inch chisel and a flat 1/4 inch chisel I had. And I didn't have any carving chisels, so I didn't. And I thought, well, if I make a mistake, I'll start on the nose and just worked in and sort of made the nose. I thought, oh, if I make a mistake, there's a big lump of wood, I'll just go in deeper to fix it, rectify it. But anyhow, that wasn't a problem, really. So I was just slowly, it took ages. I didn't know how to do the hair or, the texturing. So that was all smooth. The eyes were just flat, no pupils or, just sort of plain. And the beard and I knew there was something wrong with the mouth, but I didn't know what it was. But I know now it needed to go in deeper here. It was too flat, the mouth, and different things like that. And the ears doing too bad. So that was my first attempt when I was.
That was the 50. One you did of yourself.
50. Yeah, I still got that,
yep.
And I was about 50 then. And
how long did that take?
Oh, it took a few months.
So you do it at the
end
of the day?
Off and on, and sort of guessing where I'm going to stop, because then I had all the back of the head and thought, oh well, I'll just smooth that over. And so then I thought, oh well, I'll put it in they had the local show here, and they had a wood carving section, and I just put it in that, and it looked like me. See, people would see it, say, oh, that's Kevin Banting there. Someone's done a bust of his head, and the judge said, I was in the novice section, and I got the first prize, and the judge said, well, if that's your first attempt at carving, I think you should do some more carving. Said,
yeah.
So that's how it sort of went. So then I got, proper chisels, and I got real enthused. I'm more enthused then than I am now, but I was doing a few carvings a year. You know, I just love to get. You see a thing and you just love to. I've got to do that. You know?
Right.
It's sort of like a personal challenge to see if you can achieve it.
Yeah. Yep.
And when I first started, I thought, I did, myself on that. And you think, now how am I going to do females? I might try to do a female and it'll look male.
Mm.
And, you know, when you start looking closely at what's the difference really between a male and a female face, you know, we all know. We all know when we see, well, that's a woman. Or, well, there is occasions there's something, it's a bit, the jury will be out, you say, well, I don't know what that is. Whether they got bumps on their chest or not. Yeah. But, so anyhow, that didn't become an issue either. When I did it, it seemed that looks female or that looks male, you know. Yep. So it was like a personal challenge where I could achieve those things, you know. Mm. So that's how the approach I had about it.
So you did, so you then, it became sort of a bit of a hobby business that gave you some income.
Yeah. Yep. We travelled all over the state, right up to Atherton Tablelands. There's a really good competition up there. They get really good entries, and and there was more money about those days. The prize money, you know, you'd get $500 or $1,000, or you'd get in-kind tools from different hardware stores in the town. I might give you a voucher for so much in power tools or wood products or oils or finishing materials or glues. Mm. Yeah, glue, a lot of glue. Some of the things you win, you think, I didn't really want that, you know. Yeah. But, or veneers, all sorts of things.
So,
But getting back to, you know, we're talking about in the Stockman's Hall of Fame, that carved on Mick Kookaroo, I entered that in an international competition. And there was entries, that was photographs that were sent in. There was entries from England, America, all over the place, and there was some really good work in that, and I won that.
An international one?
Yeah, and it was $1,200 worth of power tools. But I don't know whether, of course, I was Australian, because it was an Australian company that put it up, based in Western Australia. Carbotech, not Carbotech, is it Arbotech? Anyhow, they make a variety of wood power tool things. And I won that, and that was quite a surprise.
So you now use power tools to do carving?
Sometimes.
Yep.
When necessary, yeah. Some guys who are a bit up themselves, they think, I never use power tools, you know. Michelangelo, he wouldn't have used power tools. I thought, no, bullshit. He used drills and things, even Michelangelo. It's just to get rid of the bulk, you know, to speed up the process.
Yep. So how long would it take you now to do one? If it like...
doing a bust, it might be 150 hours or something.
So
that's the I write down all my hours, because when you go to demonstrations and things, that's one of the most common questions. How long did that take? Yeah. You know, everyone answers that. So I make a point of, you know, I might do 6 hours one day or 2 hours or, you know, whatever. So I write the date and the hours. So I've got a bit of an idea, because if you don't, well, you just haven't got a clue. You think, I think it was, you know.
Well, that's thinking. Yeah, that's one of the sort of a bit of a problems with artistic people or creative people, is the hours that they put into it.
You just get absorbed. Yeah. Everything else is cut out. It's a great relaxer, really. When I first started doing it, you know, they talk about it's the right side of your brain or something. It's a particular side of the brain that's spatial and does that type of thing. Yeah, you do. There's like a change. You focus on the picture or whatever you're doing really hard, and everything else is switched off. So if you've got sort of problems or things, it does help to get over that.
So it's an artist's. Like an artist, isn't it? They lock themselves away for bursts.
Yeah, you just focus on that, and you go into such a deep concentration. I met some people around the state that use it for therapy for themselves. They work in government departments, you know, with family services, with all these dysfunctional families and all that sort of business. And they said, it's just terrible. And they said when they do their carving on Saturday or Sunday, they said I get a break. they focus so hard on that that's all switched off, so they can get a turn off.
Yep.
And it's a good therapy for them.
That guy I've seen on TV, that fella from Vietnam, Arn, he does
the
paintings of people.
Yeah.
And he paints the person sort of as they're talking and telling their story.
Yeah.
And he really does have a knack.
Oh, he's got a good...
Isn't he?
He's a good artist,
To be able to splash it on the canvas sort of, as well as...
Yeah, it's got a real character to his work.
Yeah, character to the work, yep. Yeah. So what other ones have you the ones at the military museum here?
Yeah, there's two there. There's a piece when I did an Aboriginal bust. So I had the Aboriginal period when I sort of was focused on doing lots of those. And I got good pictures from the old magazine, Saltbush Bill, and those old cartoon books, which were all banned now because they're racist, I reckon. Yeah. But they had some great pictures in them. And there was one I had up at Atherton. Was up there. People wanted me to have some of my work there, and it eventually went to America. Some American bought it when they were visiting. So that one went there, and there's a guy who bought 2 Indians. I did. He was a builder guy. I met his family and everything. Yeah, they were really keen. He was a good builder, and he just loved Indians. Anyhow. He'd seen me work at Atherton when there was one of the shows on, and that's how he contacted me. And so I took 2 of these Indians. One was a Mohawk Indian made out of Moreton Bay fig, which had all lines through the timber. It looked quite effective. Everyone said it should have been a Maori because it sounded like he had a tattooed face. So I took that one and one of 2 Moons, a Cheyenne chief in Beach, and he just said he wanted to buy one, but anyhow I said, oh well, you can have a lender what you think about these 2, and left them with him for a few days, and when I went back he said, oh, I'll buy both of them. He said you wanted both of them, so that was that. So 2 are there. And there's bits all over the place. There's one down at Nambour, a wood spirit. I did it on an old stump. I did that for another woodcarver. She's a really good woodcarver, this woman. She wanted one for her daughter, and she gave me this lump of wood. It was really weathered and ancient, you know. And he said, could you do a wood spirit in this old lump of wood too? And we called it... what did we called it? Something firewood. When Mum saw the bit of wood, I was in the back of the car going home, and Mum said, that wouldn't even make firewood around here, nothing would. What do we call it? We called it something firewood, we called it. Yeah. But anyhow, she loved it, and for her daughter, so her daughter would still have it. It was really one of my favourite bits. It just had something about it. I've got photos of it. It's it nearly had it had a life. It had a sort of a feeling about it.
So where to with that hobby now? Is that?
Oh, it's just sort of drifted off into the blue yonder. I'm just not so as. Oh yeah, I should get back to it. I suppose as you get older, you get less energetic, and just doing our other things seems to be enough.
Yeah.
And I sort of conquered that challenge, you know, whether I can do that, and I think, oh, I can do that. And it's not as I don't get this bigger buzz out of doing a piece now as I used to.
Yep.
And all these different competitions, they don't have them now. A lot of the areas they don't have the money.
Yep.
It's not as you know. There's a lot of times I ended down at Corroy. They've got a really good club down there.
Yep.
And I ended at in Brisbane at in the city at for the Dame Mary Jurek Awards, and some other places down there, and got to meet local carvers, and up at Mullaney's a lot of those types of people.
So if someone wants to learn it now, is there somewhere here they can do it, or? Or is it just something people
yeah,
start off?
Well, I like to see people have a go to start themselves.
Yeah.
Because I found, I did a bit of teaching and that, and it got to be a bit. For a lot of people, they just use it as a social thing.
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
And you think this person, I'm going to be teaching these people forever. They're not going to.
Yeah.
They're not going to. And it's good when you find these other people that are more self-motivated, and they go off and do, and they try it like they have a go and think about it. They've got to put some effort in. They expect you to just when you do a class that you're going to turn them into you, the same, but they've got a different body. They look through different eyes. They look, I always say about the string from your hands to your eyes or to your brain. They haven't got one, the string's not there with some of them. And it's like anyone in trades, the trades, they're more connected from their hands to their brain.
Yeah.
That's how I learned bricklaying and all those things. I was a good copier. I just watched blokes doing a thing, how you moved your hand, buttering a brick. And I'm thinking to myself, I could do that, Because that's all it is copying. You just see them what they're doing, they think, that looks good. Or when you see building about how, it's put together, they say, that's a good idea, that the way they've done that, that's strong. And it's sort of a physical thing. And that's just all that. That's all you...
Yeah. That's good. From your eye to your hand. Yeah. So,
because when you're teaching people, you can say, now you do this, and you cut like that, you're cutting with the grain and all like that. And you give it to them, and they were right there, what you did. They just can't do it.
Yeah. That's me.
Some can, but some
Yeah. And it's the different gifts of people
have.
And
well, see, I'm not verbal. I'm not literally verbal. I'm all, physical. As I always say about people, there's either good talkers or good doers. Yeah. Rarely you get a good doer and a talker in the same person. And the people who do things, they don't talk about it much. They just do it. Yeah. And the talkers, they're like politicians. They can talk and it all sounds fantastic what they're saying, but they can do nothing.
That's it. Yeah. Look for the balance. All right. That's good.
Well, I don't know how long we...
No, that's spot on, I reckon.
Photographs of your work first. That was to eliminate the numbers. Get the numbers down and to get the quality of the, reasonable quality of stuff. So you entered your photos first. And they say, oh, no, you've been selected. So, rightio. Yep. So we went down there and we didn't know anybody at all. It's all black tie, and they had the waitress. They had the Boyley wines with the sponsors. Yeah. They had cocktail waitresses all walking around in the little dresses. We're saying, Jesus, we're looking around. We're just the country bumpkins. Yeah. And everyone's a bit hoity-toity, and it was really great. Anyhow, they start announcing the winners. Oh yeah, that was the thing. They you had to have everything a price on the items because they had to be potentially for sale, and they took a 30% commission, and there was nothing to be over $10,000. See, so I thought, oh well, I'll just put $10,000 on it. See. I thought everyone will be doing that, I thought. When I got the program, I'm looking through it. I said, I'm the only one that said 10,000.
You're up yourself.
I hope here.
You're up.
Yeah, I'm up myself here. And so anyway, I started calling out the winners, see, and it just went on and on. I couldn't get the grin off my face because I won first prize in the wood section, and then I won first prize. Overall of the whole competition, out of all the different crafts.
Righto. Yep.
That was $1,200.
And that was that bust of the guy up north.
Yeah, that's out there. Yeah. And then the audience was there, so they announced all the people. And the thing that gets me, because I'm not a crowd person, all the eyes are on you. As soon as you announce, it's him, and they're all, you're there, like Banting in the headlights, and. There was this other guy I thought was really funny. He was there in the car key. He was really putting on the dog, and he had a wood. exhibiting, and it was this man, and it was bloody terrible. It was a full-size man, carved. It was as rough as guts, and he thought he was, shit on the stick. And so when I won, he was just floored. I think he was, and anyhow, so then they're all going up to. All the crowd was going up to look at all the exhibits, because they were upstairs. So before we all leave, the guy in charge came over to me quietly and said, we'd like to buy your piece, he said to me. That's before the audience got there, so no one else could buy it.
Yeah.
See? And they put a little red dot on the, they do it in art shows. I thought, rightio, great,
At the 10K?
Yeah. Well, they're taking 30% commission, so that reduced it by to 7 for me. So up and went and looked at all the stuff, but there was some fantastic craftsmen there. There's a guy who was, I think he was an accountant from Toowoomba, and he just, it must have been in his blood, or leather work, and the whips, he had some whips and other things. It was just fantastic. Actually, I bought a belt off him, plaited belt. Some beautiful work some of the people did. So that was that.
So how did it end up in...
And anyhow, they were doing work out there. We went out to see it, and it wasn't there. It was still held in Brisbane. And because they were doing renovations out there, and they weren't going to put it on display until they'd finished that. Right. So it went out there a bit later. We have seen it.
So that's who bought it, was the Stockman's Hall of Fame people?
Well, they were running the competition. See, it was a Dame Mary Durack Outback Craft Awards. Right. That's what it was called. Yep. And that's where lots of those types of things are kept.
Yeah, right. There. Didn't even know it existed, that stuff.
Well, see, they haven't had it. It only went a few years, and it was costing a lot of money, so they don't do it anymore.
Yeah, it's a shame. Because it'd still be the same now. There'd be people out there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it pulls a lot of...
Is that...